Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Sakin Al-Junaid. Welcome to a webinar organized by Columbia Asia as part of its Health Transformation Program. It has been 3 years since the Health Transformation Program was first launched. In fact, it won a Malaysia Health and Wellness Brand Award in 2019 under the Wellness category. The objective of Columbia Asia's Health Transformation Program is to create a culture of health, to make a difference and improve the health of the communities we serve. We believe that hospitals can create a culture of health at the workplace and in any community by offering effective health and wellness programs so individuals can make healthier choices. Through its on-ground and digital events and workshops, this Columbia Asia program has benefited countless company employees in improving their health, fitness, and well-being. As we all know, health is all-encompassing. So it is not just about physical and mental health. It is also about food consumption, which explains today's webinar topic, microgreens, a superfood that is super easy to grow. You can even cultivate it from your own office desk. To explain more about this, we have an expert in the field of microgreens. As a father to 3 young children, naturally, their health is his major concern. When he realized the rampant use and effects of banned pesticides on vegetables, he decided to grow his own and started a mini farm in his backyard in 2012. In fact, he went steps further and set up medium-scaled vegetable farms, after which he received a certification from urban farming from Malaysia's Department of Agriculture. Sorry, he received a certification in urban farming from Malaysia's Department of Agriculture. So in 2018, he launched the Urban Farmer, a platform that provides training on vegetable farming from home. So here to share his knowledge and experience in urban farming, please welcome the founder of the Urban Farmer, Mr. Balan Nadarajan. Hello, Mr. Balan.
Hi, Sakina. How are you? Thank you for the introduction.
Hi, thank you. And how are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. May I call you Balan, if you don't mind?
Yes, please do, of course. Yeah, please do.
Okay, that's good. You've come a long way from your mini farm in 2012. You now have your own platform and you're training people also how to...
Yeah. I mean, I came a long way, actually. That was like almost 10 years now. And,
fantastic.
That's great. Really nice.
I understand you're the expert in the field of microgreens. So this sounds really interesting. Without further ado, let's hear what you have to say about microgreens. Okay, over to you.
Sure. Yeah, well, microgreens originally started, as this exclusive food in restaurants, right? Where, it does come with a price, and when you go to all these very famous restaurants, so microgreens are served as garnishing, as side dish, from the food that you order. But for the past few years, I wouldn't say for the past few years, I think almost 10 years, from almost 10 years ago, microgreen has become one of the important diet intake for people, especially on the Western countries. That's where they started. And now slowly, on this side of the planet, it is also becoming quite famous. The thing is, it does come expensive, Sakina, when it comes to microgreens. But throughout the years, as more and more people started to grow microgreens, you could see an economy of scale, whereby sourcing the seeds and sourcing the planting medium is becoming cheaper. More people are growing it, but it's just that people don't really know the right techniques, and if you ask me, microgreens are the simplest way to grow vegetables from home, because you can just do it from your desk with a bit of sunlight. So that is what I'm going to talk to everyone today on, how to easily grow microgreens from home. You can even pull your kids in to do it, and how to enjoy this beautiful, nutritious superfood on a daily basis.
I remember when we last spoke, you were saying that your eldest is?
Yeah, my eldest, she's 8+ now. Her name is Gia.
8+, and she can already farm her own microgreens.
Yeah, she's growing microgreens, and we are eating it as a family. So I think it's
They can do it. We all can do it
hobby.
also, lah.
Yeah, of course. For us,
Okay.
it'll be much easier. So
Yes,
that is
yes.
what I'm trying to do
Super
today.
easy.
I'm trying to show to people that, hey guys, this is very easy. All right,
Yeah.
there's nothing hard about it.
Great, great. Okay, so how do we do this?
Okay, now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some slides. My slides are not long-winded. Simple
Okay.
slides, very straightforward, and I'll be doing some talking in between. And these slides
Sounds good.
will explain on it'll give you an introduction to microgreens, to learn more about microgreens, the health
Okay.
benefits of microgreens, and I'm going to end the whole presentation with a video tutorial that I did about 1 year ago. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Oh yeah, I need a lot of that.
You don't happen to have any
Weather.
microgreens around you, right? That's not an allergic reaction or anything, kan?
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, but no, it's really good food.
Of course, yes. Are you okay,
Okay, so
Balan? Okay,
yeah.
all good. All good.
Okay.
Oh, look
So
at
we can
that.
see the slides here.
What is this plant?
Okay, this microgreen. This are Kailan seed. Yeah.
Oh, Kailan seeds. It doesn't look anything like Kailan at
Yeah,
this.
because there are a few types of Kailan seeds.
see.
And it comes like a few type of varieties. So this is one variety of it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I do because there are a lot of seeds, microgreen seeds available in the market. But what I do is I promote our local seeds like Kailan, Pak Choy, Bayam, and all that. Because it's easily available, and at the same time it comes cheaper as well.
Okay. When you see seeds of microgreens, does that mean that it's marketed or it's labeled on the packaging? It says microgreen, or it is actually the way you cultivate the seeds that make it microgreens?
Well, you see, the problem is, because of marketing purpose, because of how people position the business and the products. When you buy seeds that is written microgreen seeds, sorry, it is more expensive than the normal seeds.
Okay, but
because that is how it being marketed. That is why there are specific seeds for microgreens. If it is written it's for microgreens, it comes more expensive. So that is why I always advise people just get normal seeds. That will do. And normal seeds are cheap, and they give the same. I would say the same quality as microgreen seeds as well.
Yeah, that's right. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose if it's expensive, right? Because the whole idea.
Exactly. So it doesn't make sense for you to eat every day.
Yes, and affordable. Would this be considered organic by any chance?
Well, yeah, because the way you're going to plant it, the way you're going to grow it is it's organic. You're not going to use any pesticide. You're not going to use any chemical fertilizer. So yeah, it is purely organic actually.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Right.
Growing organic food at the office or in your own home.
Yeah, exactly. So it is accessible to you, available to you any time of the day. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at your slides.
Okay, sure. So right. I'm going to talk about microgreens, and I'm going to explain on how to grow the superfood.
All right.
From this, right? So what are microgreens? So microgreens are in between sprout and baby green. So when I talk about sprout, for an example, tauge, right? Tauge is a type of sprout.
Right.
Okay. So if you leave tauge for a couple more days, but of course, if you leave tauge for a few more days, it won't be tauge anymore, and you can't eat it in that stage, But for other type of seeds, like whether it's kailan or pak choy or any other type of seeds, so once they sprout, which is normally on day 1, day 2 to day 3, so when you leave them for a few more days, you will have this baby leaves forming. So this is what we call microgreens. The small leaves which are called cotyledon, the 2 leaves, that form, and on top of that you have
science class.
Yeah, exactly. So on top of that, you'll have maybe a couple of more small leaves that forms, right? So
Yep.
these are what you call microgreens.
All right.
And these microgreens, they have this very intense aromatic flavor, Sakina. The flavor is just so intense because they're still small and they're
Yeah.
so powerful. They're just trying to explode. So that is why the flavor is quite intense.
Okay.
And
Intense how? Do you mean bitter or just
yeah, it can be bitter. For example, if you take uh, like a type of radish, you see radish.
yeah.
Radish, if you eat radish, as a fruit, right? It tastes sweet and a bit bitterish, right?
Mm.
So the
Yeah, a
same
little
goes
bit.
to radish microgreens. So the taste that you'll get is like almost 10 to 15 times more intense than what you eat
Wow, that's a
fruit.
lot.
Exactly. So that is the
Really
best part
intense.
of microgreens.
Yeah.
So that is why you don't need a lot of them. You just need about a handful, and you just spread it on your favorite dish, and then you can just eat it as
Oh,
it is
I see. So
because
we're
of
not
this.
talking about it being a main meal. It's not like when you have rice and then you've got microgreens instead of your usual vegetables. We're talking
Mhm.
about microgreens as garnishing.
Well, normally in restaurants you're using it for garnishing, but how I
Yeah.
promote it, I
Okay.
promote it. I promote microgreens for you to eat anywhere, anytime. You can even
Okay.
mix it with your nasi lemak. You can even mix it with
Okay.
your kangkong, your stir fried
Mm,
kangkong, or soups, or sandwich, or anything.
okay.
So
So you
that
don't
is
have to have it on its own.
you can, if you want to, you can have it
Yeah.
on its own. But I would prefer to mix it with other type of meal or dish because it gives you that nice taste. You see,
Yeah. Yeah. Would you recommend to cook microgreens or to have it raw?
just take it raw because you are not supposed to cook microgreens. Just eat
I
it
see.
raw and
Very
enjoy
important.
the flavor and enjoy the nutrients and that intense power that it has. So you have to just eat it raw.
Mm. Okay.
So moving on to the next one, it comes with a short harvesting period. So
Mm.
what I mean by short harvesting period is it usually take about 7 to 14 days only. So that is why you can easily grow it from your desk. You know,
How
uh,
much of a space are we talking about? We need to have some space on our desk to grow microgreens.
well, a small tray will do, Sakina, which
Mm.
I'm going to show you later. Just a small
Ah,
tray
okay, all right. Yeah.
with a bit of peat moss in it as a growing medium, and then you
Mm.
spread the seed and
Mm.
then uh, sprinkle of water every day, and there you go, boom. 7 days, it is just nice for you
That's
to
it.
harvest.
Wow.
And yeah, as I mentioned, it can be
Then you
grown
can top off
indoors.
from your office, bring it home. Oh, actually,
Exactly. Yeah.
in fact, since you said that you can have it raw, whatever lunch that you're preparing for yourself at the office,
Hmm.
you like garnish it lah. Sandwiches.
Exactly. You just cut it, you just harvest
Yeah.
it, and then
Yeah.
just with a dash of water just to clean it a bit, and then
Yeah.
you just mix it with whatever that you're going to have for your lunch at your office, whether it's
Sounds
sandwich,
perfect.
whether it's pasta, whether it's spaghetti,
Yeah. So
anything will
that's
do.
increasing the nutrition of your everyday office lunch.
Exactly, that's right.
Okay, great.
Right. So moving on to the next slide.
Mm.
Now, so we're going to talk about the concentrated nutrients in microgreens.
Mm.
So microgreens contain a wider variety of polyphenols and antioxidants than mature counterparts. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at a Kailan microgreens, and
Mm.
if you're looking at an adult Kailan,
Yeah.
the nutrients that contain in a Kailan microgreens, right? It
Yeah.
can go like up to 40 times more than matured and adult Kailan. So that is how strong microgreens are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course the amount of nutrients differ from
Mm.
varieties of the type of microgreens, but
Right.
uh, but in a simple form,
Mm.
they have they are really power packed with nutrients. They have a lot of nutrients in them.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, short harvesting period,
Yeah.
and most varieties they are rich in potassium, iron, zinc, magnesium, copper, which is also known as the trace elements or the micronutrients that we need.
Okay. Okay.
So that is another benefit of having microgreens. I won't say that you have to have it on a daily basis, right? You can even have it like once a week or even twice or three times a week, depending on how rajin you are, lah, right? To
Yeah
grow the
lah, yeah lah.
microgreens.
But if you like it so much, you can have it as an option, up to you lah.
Yeah, of course, because normally what I do is when I just grow them one shot, and then I will just keep them in Tupperwares. But
Yeah.
I try not to store microgreens more than 3 days in the fridge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything more than 3 days, then the nutrients
Yeah.
will start to deplete, kan? So, just about 2 to 3 days will be just nice.
But if you had to store them, what's the method of storing the microgreens in the fridge? Do you have to wrap it or in water?
No, just chuck them in an airtight container, and then just throw them into the fridge. So, and then you just take whatever you want them. I mean, the amount that you need, you just take it.
Is it suitable for children to eat?
Oh yes, of course. My
they're okay with the intense flavor.
Yeah. And it's a very good question as well, Sakina, because you see, I mean, nowadays, we have a lot of access. We are always at home, and of course at night, you want to just sit down with the kids. You want to watch some programs in the TV,
Yeah.
right? And you see, having something like microgreens, will deter them from munching on potato chips, and those kind of stuff, right? So
and
what
it's
I
also
do,
a healthy and fun activity for them.
exactly. So what I do for my kids, even for me, when at night I'm feeling hungry, I just go down, open the fridge, throw some microgreens in a bowl, I put in some breadcrumbs and put a little bit of sauce and just take it up and just eat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Salad, microgreens.
Exactly, microgreen salad.
This does sound like a fun activity to do with the children. Family time, growing your own.
Definitely
Awesome.
is. And the kids, they love to do things like this because when they see the progress, the growth of these plants on a day-to-day basis, right?
Right.
They just get so excited, and the harvesting these vegetables and eating is another activity that they will really, really look forward to.
Yeah.
So that is how I train my kids to eat plenty of vegetables, because they are always involved with my urban farming,
Yes.
So when they see me growing stuff and they feel so curious about it, and they start eating more and more vegetables. So I think that is one of the best way to expose them to healthy eating.
Balan, are you doing this on a full-time basis?
Well, no. I'm a business consultant,
I see.
As a profession, I'm a business consultant. Okay. So urban farming is something that I do on a part-time basis. But then
so that means you don't need that much time to grow, all these microgreens and stuff that you grow. Because we're talking about not spending a lot of time to grow your own nutrition.
I spend about 15-20 minutes to take care of my farm in my house. Every day, 15-20 minutes. But during the weekends, I spend more time, maybe about 2 to 3 hours. That's where I pull my kids in. Because weekends are a better time for us to get together, and so I can do more work in my farm, and my kids can help me, and so that's how I expose them.
It makes Balan can do it, the rest of us can do it also. Yeah, even with a full-time job, we should be able to do something like this. No excuses.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. So now I'm going to talk about the microgreen varieties. So these are the mumbo jumbo ones, that you find in those exclusive restaurants.
Okay.
So these are the type of seeds, the family of seeds like brassica, astraca, epiaca. So these are the type of seeds that you normally get out there, microgreen seeds.
Yeah.
And you can grow, from a tray. And so here I'm just giving a simple explanation as between micro versus mature. So as you can see for red cabbage, the difference between microgreens, the red cabbage microgreens, and red cabbage mature greens are, if you look at vitamin E, it's 40-1 for red cabbage, and vitamin C is like 6-1, and vitamin E is like a staggering 40-1. So that is the kind of nutrients that we're talking about in microgreens. And it's not only red cabbage, we're talking about most variety of microgreens that is
Yeah.
like really power packed with nutrients. And cilantro. So the difference between microgreens and the mature cilantro greens are 4 to 1. We're talking about beta carotene, which is a type
Yes,
of
yes.
antioxidant.
That's a big jump.
Yeah. So 4 to 1 is actually it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really like packed with nutrients.
Okay.
And well, the health benefits. So these are by research. The source from National Center of Biotechnology Information. So the
Yeah.
health benefits for microgreens. So number one is for a healthy heart. Because studies have shown that microgreens, they help to reduce the heart disease risk.
Okay.
And of course overweight, bad LDL and so on. So these are studies that have been proven. And the other health benefits is a wide variety of polyphenols, which is which prevents the buildup of harmful free radicals,
Yeah.
and of course, and it helps to reduce risk of heart disease,
So all
cancer.
microgreens contain polyphenols.
Yeah. All when you're talking about microgreens, of course, there is a content of polyphenols in it.
Yeah.
Well, how much of polyphenols? It depends on the varieties. Normally some microgreens they contain lower. Some varieties of microgreens they might contain higher.
Okay.
So if you're talking about our local veggies, right, our local leafy veggies like kailan, pak choy,
Yeah. Yeah.
amaranth, which is bayam, right? Okay, they do have a good amount of polyphenols in them, which is good enough for us. And the other thing that I would like to highlight here, microgreens also help to reduce inflammation in your body,
Okay.
especially for those who are having this heaty body. Because I have a heaty body, and I tend to have, uh, throat infection. I mean, you can hear me coughing a bit here and there. I mean,
Okay.
that is because I've not been taking microgreens for the past 3 weeks, right?
Okay.
Which is
You
my
wear a
bad.
mask.
Because normally I normally take once a week, because it really like cools me down. Mixing
Yeah.
microgreens with a cup of what do you call apa tu?
Soup. Tea.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just forgot the name.
It's
Uh,
okay. Food? Is it food or drinks?
yeah, the dairy from cow. I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it really cools down your body.
You can mix it like, yeah. You can mix it with other foods. Okay.
Yeah, yogurt. Yeah,
Yogurt,
so
right?
a bunch of microgreens, you mix it with yogurt, and you just eat it, especially when you're having a really like heated up body, especially during the hot season, right? So you
Yeah.
take, and it kind of cools you down, and kind of helps you from all these inflammation issues.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know now because I think most of us are preparing since there's going to be a heat wave.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard about that. So this is a good way for us to cool down the body.
It's a really really useful and proven way, Sakina.
Okay.
Really cools you
Oh, I
down.
was going to ask you because you were listing down the types of plants that you can use to grow as microgreens. For a
Yeah.
beginner, which one plant would you recommend?
Pak choy.
That's right. That's the easiest.
Yeah. Pak choy and kailan. These are the
Okay.
easiest ones, and I'm going to show you how easy is that.
All right.
You're going to go like, oh, this is so easy, All right, I'm moving on to the next slide.
Wait. Okay.
Okay, so as I told you, it's anywhere, anytime. So if you see on the right hand side of the image on the right hand side,
Yeah.
so that is the kangkong from my backyard, my back lane.
Yeah.
So I just stir fried my kangkong with ikan bilis, right? And then I just took a handful of microgreens and put it on top of it. So
Yeah.
it became a perfect dish, that is so nutritious.
Yes.
And that's on my left hand side. Sorry. Now on my right hand side, Same goes to a sandwich, a very simple egg sandwich, and by adding microgreens on top of it, right, it just makes it so perfect.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it doesn't just look cute, because when you go to these expensive restaurants and they garnish it with microgreens, it looks very classy.
exactly.
But it's
Yeah,
actually, there's more than just looks like, it's not aesthetics.
yeah. I mean, the more you take, is better, lah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I mean, that can only be done if you're growing microgreens on your own, so that you'll have that good amount of microgreens for you to eat every day.
Yeah. There's quite an amount that you've got on your sandwich there.
Oh yes, yes. I love to just I love to just chuck in a handful of microgreens for my sandwich, and my kids love it as
It
well.
gives you that crunch as well, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is crunchy. Yeah, especially when you
Great.
just harvest it fresh.
Great.
Right.
Okay.
So moving on to the next slide. Okay, now I'm just going to show the common garnishing varieties that you can find in restaurants. Right. These are the common ones. So the common ones are sunflower microgreens, and amaranth is bayam. So what you can see here is
Oh, okay.
red amaranth is bayam merah. So bayam merah is, in fact, bayam merah is actually a very good type of microgreens because it just contains a lot of iron in it, right? So,
Yeah.
so eating it as because even a normal bayam, right, it contains iron, right? So eating it as a microgreen, it's like it will really like power up your body.
Yeah. So whatever nutrition that ordinary vegetables have, microgreens have a lot more.
Yeah, it is a lot more. So this is how it works, Sakina,
Yeah.
So you see, because everything starts from seeding, right? And then from
Yes.
seeding, then it will come the next stage, which is germination, percambahan.
Yes.
So when germination happens, right? When these seeds they start to sprout. When
Yeah.
they sprout, they are using a lot of energy to
Okay.
sprout, and for the cotyledon to form. So that is when an immense amount of energy is being used by these plants to come to that form.
Okay.
So to put on a layman's term, right, they are turning into a Hulk. So from a normal seed, they are turning into a Hulk. So microgreens is technically a fully formed Hulk. So when you cut that Hulk and eat it, so you are taking in all the nutrients from the Hulk and
You
pushing it
become
to
Hulk
your
lah.
body. So basically that's how it works.
Okay. Sorry, Bala, let me just ask you a question. Before you started eating microgreens and now eating microgreens, what are the differences that you can tell? Maybe physically, does it make you feel any different?
Well, first of all, I do see a lot of changes, Sakina. As I mentioned, I have a very heaty body, and I do get a lot of throat kind of infection every now and then, at least
Yeah.
every 2 to 3 months. That has always been a very common problem for me. So when
Okay.
I started taking microgreens, my body actually cools down, and I also have migraine, and when the temperature changes, when it becomes hot, I start to get my migraine attack. So,
Yeah.
so in fact, that is the main reason why I started to take microgreens, because you know how migraine can what migraine can do to you, right? It can really
Yeah.
it can really make you go nuts, like you
Yeah,
want to
I
like
get that.
bang your
It's
head
very
on
common.
the wall. Yeah. So when I started to take microgreens, I rarely have migraine headaches anymore. So it really did change the way my body was, and of course, it really put me into that routine of healthy eating.
Yeah.
So the next big change, of course, the eating habits of my family, you see, because when my kids they started to taste microgreens, they start to they start to go minimum on the on other types of food, like cookies and snacks and all those kind of
Oh.
stuff,
Oh, it
and
puts you off sugar.
sorry.
It puts you off sugar. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. In fact, it does. It does.
Because
It's like
you've acquired the taste for healthy.
exactly. You know, when you start eating it, when you
Yeah.
start tasting it, of course, for the first few times, right, you will feel weird because of the intense taste.
Yeah.
Not intense, you know, you go like sometimes it's a bit bitter, sometimes it's a bit
Strong.
sweet. You
Yeah.
know, you have to like start to adjust to the taste. But after that, you'll go like, I just want microgreens. You know, I just want to add microgreens in whatever that I eat.
Yeah.
So you will come to that kind of stage, and when you get up in the morning, you actually feel so fresh.
Yeah. It's
You
good
know,
that you've actually accustomed your children to eat in this way, because most children just don't like vegetables, but your
yeah,
children
exactly.
it's
So,
intense vegetables.
so my tips. Of course, there are a lot of children out there that I've seen also. You know, when you tell them vegetables, they'll go like, no way. You know, they just don't want
Yeah, yeah,
to. They just try to, you know, keep themselves away from vegetables. So
very common.
the only workable tips I have is are get them into the activity. You know, when they start to grow it, you know,
Yeah,
then automatically they will have that intention to taste it,
yeah,
and and the way they taste it will be much different because they'll be so excited to taste it because they know that they grew it, is it,
yeah,
and they just want to have a try on it. So that will be my ultimate tip for
yeah.
those who are
Fruit of
very,
the labor.
yeah, exactly,
Okay,
right.
what are we looking at?
Okay, so moving on to my next slide. You know, these are the type of varieties. See, you have basil microgreens. There are also broccoli microgreens
Okay.
and arugula, which is type of salad, and cilantro. You know, cilantro microgreens are like so intense. You know, compared to a full-grown cilantro, you know, the taste of a cilantro microgreen is like 10,
Yeah.
15 times more intense.
Cilantro
So
is daun ketumbar. No, no, that's coriander. Daun bawang,
yeah,
daun, right?
yes, cilantro is not sure what's the name in.
Daun soup,
It's
I
more
think
like
so.
down soup. Yeah, that's right. It's down
Yes,
soup.
yes.
Yeah, even down ketumbar microgreens, the taste is like so intense.
Yeah,
So that is why these are only used for garnishing in restaurants. You know,
I
because
see.
you can't take too much of the taste. You know, and there's radish, there's beetroot.
Very pretty, the radish microgreen. Look at the combination of colors. There's purple
Yeah,
there.
yeah, because they're like these are like two types of radish. One is the red one,
Oh, I see.
the other one is that white one. Is it?
No wonder the high-end restaurants, they like to garnish with all these microgreens, because
Yeah,
they're very cute.
yeah. It makes the food looks more. It's
Yeah, it
really
stands out.
nice, and you know. Okay, so this picture that I'm showing you are
Yeah.
Kailan microgreens. So this is what I normally grow at home, whether it's Kailan or pak choy. So this is how they look. I
Okay.
mean, they look as delicious as any other microgreens, and of course they are also very nutritious. So when you
Okay.
grow your Kailan microgreens at home, this is how
Yeah.
they look.
Okay. What we're looking at, if you were
Hmm.
to, if we could envision the size of the tray that we have
Hmm.
on our, yeah, because today's discussion, it is about growing microgreens on your desk. So how big of a tray are we looking at?
Well, it's actually a small grow tray, and
Like a tissue box?
uh, you know that small food tray that you know when you go to a restaurant and when you want to tap out something, they'll give you a white color food tray,
Yeah. Yeah.
a normal white color food tray.
Mm.
Yeah, a tray as big as that is good enough.
Okay.
You know.
But it's pretty shallow. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean,
With that,
anything in between 4 to 5 centimeters of depth.
with that.
You know,
Okay.
it's good enough. The reason is because we are going to harvest microgreens in about 7 days only. So that is why you know if the depth is shallow, there is no problem to grow them.
Okay. Once you take out these microgreens and you eat them, and
Hmm.
then if because it's such a small space, right? So you, assuming that you are taking out everything to eat, and
Hmm.
you use the same soil again to grow.
Yeah, of course you can reuse. So that's the other thing that I do. You know, I always what I do is I'm a bit disruptive.
Yeah.
So
Now, obviously, I know that about gardening, so I have to ask something like
yeah,
that.
I always give people tips on how to reuse. Because you see, when to grow microgreens, you need a medium called peat moss. Peat moss, it feels like soil. It is just like
Okay.
it's a type of medium that feels like soil, but peat moss is very soft. It's very soft, very fine,
Mm.
and peat moss is expensive. The peat moss that I use is imported from Holland, but
Okay.
they can be expensive if you keep buying it every time that you want to grow
Yeah.
microgreens. So what
Yeah.
I teach people is a trick on how to keep reusing the peat moss,
Mm.
right? So that means for a tray of peat moss, you can
Yeah.
maybe grow microgreens like 4 to 5 times rather than just growing them one time.
Yeah. Well, where can you get these this peat moss? In any store?
Yeah, peat moss is available in. Nowadays it's available online.
Specialty. Oh,
So
okay. Okay. I see.
yeah, so you can get it online.
Okay. So you don't mix it with ordinary soil. It has to be peat moss
No,
as
no, it's purely peat moss because peat moss is a medium to grow seeds.
well. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
from the seeds, once they become seedlings, and then you
Yeah.
can transfer them into a bigger pot. I mean, that is for a normal plant, yeah, not for
Yes.
microgreens.
Yes.
Microgreens
Okay.
is just that one shot. You just grow them
Yeah.
7 days,
So
even
easy.
10 days. You just harvest them.
Okay, what happens if you don't do much to your microgreens? Let's say you forgot, you go off on a holiday, then you come back. Will these microgreens grow into full grown plants?
No, okay. The thing is about microgreens is the care, the tender, loving care has to be every day, which means,
Mm.
and it's pretty simple, Sakina, because what you need to do is once you have seeded, all you
Yeah.
have to do every day, once a day in the morning, is just to
Mm.
sprinkle some water.
Yeah.
That's it. As long as these microgreens are situated next to a
Mm.
window with a bit of sunlight,
Right. Yeah.
you just need to like just splash a bit of water every day, and
Mm.
7 days down the road, they're ready to be harvested.
Okay. I have to
Right.
try this. Making a note. Must try this.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Okay.
MCO.
So, yeah, I mean, in fact, a lot of people are getting into the because I sell the kits as well. You see, so what I
Oh.
saw for the past since the first PKP, right?
Mm.
This huge amount of people are getting into that act of
Mm.
growing microgreens.
Yeah.
They're just like, I mean, especially those who are living in condos, right?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
they can't do a lot of things. They're like
Yeah.
cooped up in the house.
Mm.
It's hard to go out,
Mm.
and just staring at the sky. So yeah, so I could see that pattern of people that living in condos,
Mm.
getting the kids to grow microgreens, and the pattern is just like keep going up and up.
Right. I see a lot of people on social media actually they've come into this trend of growing their own food, or
Hmm.
whether it's greens or not. Like actually this one is a step further. It's like, taking it another step. So
Yeah.
instead the normal, lah, daun kari lah, and
Mhm.
lots of plants and fruits which they
Mhm.
cultivate on their own. This is actually something that they might also want to consider
Mhm.
because of its nutritious value.
Exactly, and it's a perfect it's perfect for beginners. Those who uh, those who think that should I become a gardener or should I not become a gardener, or should I
Mm.
plant something or should I not plant something. I think microgreens, it's a great start for them to
Great way to start.
get into the jive of planting something.
Yeah. And it makes complete sense because if we're talking about something organic, it's not
Hmm.
expensive that you
Yeah,
can grow on your own.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're talking about this today
Yeah, me too.
because yeah,
I'm
it's
so
really
glad that I'm
useful.
sharing this.
Very useful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, well, what else will you be sharing with us today
Okay, so
regarding
so
my
now I'm going to move on to the next slide. Which is the most important question that I think most of the listeners are having at this point of time. Are
Okay.
microgreens hard to grow?
Mm.
I mean, of course, I've been talking about how easy to do it from your desk. But then
Yep.
again, sitting on the other side of the screen, where people are listening and they go like, where they still think that there is some amount of complication in it. So I'm just going to justify now how easy are microgreens to grow, because there is my daughter, and
She's so sweet. This is the 8-year-old, your
yes,
eldest.
that's right. So she has 2 trays of microgreens. So the one that she's holding is Kailan microgreens, which is about 5 days old. So
Oh,
tomorrow
5 days
is,
you can already. Those are healthy looking sprouts. In
yeah,
five
that's
days,
right.
daughter.
So tomorrow is Friday, and on Saturday she's going to harvest it,
How do
right?
we
And
harvest microgreens? Do we just pull them out?
no, you need to cut it. So I'll be showing that in the video tutorial
Okay. Okay. All right.
on the way to harvest it. So
Okay.
the other microgreens that is sitting on a lap, so those are pak
Mm.
choy microgreens.
Okay.
Yeah, so she has, and those
Very
pak choy
pretty.
microgreens are about 3 days old,
Mm.
and the Kailan ones are 5 days old. So it's like it's very simple, Sakina. I really hope
Yes.
people will get into this. It's a very good, way of eating healthy. It's a very
Yeah.
simple way of eating healthy, very straightforward.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's and now, all right. So I'm going to show a video tutorial
All right.
that I made about a year ago. So
Okay.
to do that, I have to exit and go to Facebook.
So this video will show us about how to grow microgreens step by step.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
I'm really impressed by your daughter, how she can actually grow her own microgreens. And she looks very happy there.
Yeah, she's always excited to do all this. Okay, so I'm just going to restart the video. Okay, there you go.
Wow. Nice. Very nice. Hello? Hey, where did Balan go? Okay, let's hope that he will come back again because we've got a few questions here from members of the audience. We'll give him a few minutes to log back on. Maybe he accidentally exited. Okay, in the meantime, let's take a look at the questions that we have. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any inquiries about this, you can very well type them in the comment section and we will try to address them one by one. That's if Balan comes back, of course. I hope he will. Okay, the first question is, how can we further diversify the Malaysian menu with microgreens? Okay, so we'll wait for Balan to come in.
Oh, sorry, I got disconnected. So did you manage to see the video?
Thank goodness you're back because we've got some questions here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so sorry, are you done with the whole presentation? If not, you can continue. Otherwise, we can go straight to the questions. Sorry, Balan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's take the first question. Miss SPN is asking, how can we further diversify the Malaysian menu with microgreens?
Well, I think in terms of serving microgreens with our local food, I don't believe that there is limitations.
Yeah.
To me, I would say that it is better to serve it raw. So it is more to how to mix and match the taste. That's about it. You know, for example, if you're trying to take a slightly bitter type of microgreens, right? If that particular microgreens taste bitter, so you might want to match that with a main dish, you know, that is a bit more on the sweeter side, or something that really tastes, something that is really subtle to your tongue. So technically, I think that's how it works. But again, I don't see any limitations to mix microgreens with our local dishes.
Yeah, maybe it's something that you can toss like right at the end of your when you're cooking vegetables. Then just switch off the fire. You just toss in the microgreens because they don't need.
You just sprinkle it fresh because there's one important thing is you cannot cook microgreens because you're going to kill all the nutrients. So it makes it doesn't make sense, you see?
Yeah, redundant.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a question by Ms. Pavita Preet. What is the risk of contaminated or of contamination? Can E. coli develop on microgreens?
So the reason why we want to wait them to form into microgreens is because of there's lesser. In fact, there's almost zero contamination compared to sprouts. You know, sprout has a higher risk of being contaminated by bacteria. So in terms of microgreens, no, it is almost zero. As long as you nicely wash it before you consume it, it's good enough.
What's the difference between sprouts and microgreens in terms of the risk of contamination?
Because usually sprouts, because usually the level of contamination for sprouts are always higher because they have not fully developed yet. They are just into that stage of developing. That is why whenever you buy tauges, right, you have to wash it, really, really wash it. You can't just take it like that. Yeah. So that's the difference. But when they have formed into microgreens, when the leaves are out, when the seeds, the shells, the seed shells have dropped, they are much more safer to eat.
Okay, bless you. Okay, next question is by Miss Elaine Xiaoxi. How can you tell at which point of growth are the greens ready to be eaten?
Yeah. So, well, we are looking at the formation of the first two cotyledon leaves, right? And then followed by another pair of small shoots that's coming out. So that is when you know that they are kind of ready to be eaten. You can even leave them a bit more longer, but then again, they will slowly turn into baby greens. So it's the matter of how you prefer to consume them. But I would personally prefer for the cotyledon to form and the two smaller leaves to form on top, the smaller ones. So that is why I normally harvest them in between 7 to 10 days. A minimum of 7 to a maximum of 10 days.
Okay, 7 to 10 days. Or you can also, can you decide by just taking a look at it that, if it's green, if it's got leaves?
Yeah.
Actually,
the moment I see the cotyledons are big enough, I'll just chop it.
Yeah.
Because the reason why.
Earlier.
Sorry?
No, based on the pictures that you showed earlier, I mean, they look about ready because all the leaves are out, all the cotyledons.
Right, the cotyledons are out. That's right. So,
Mr. Velusamy Subramaniam is sorry, did you have something to say just now?
Yeah, I mean, some people, they tend to wait a bit more longer for a slightly bigger formation of the next set of leaves, right? So, I think that is connected to the next question. So I can explain that. Yeah.
Does the tray need to have holes for drainage by Mr. Velusamy Subramaniam? Okay.
So what I've shown in the video is a tray without holes, right? So the thing is, when you have holes beneath the tray, then it will start to get messy because when you pour water, the water will come out from the tray. So which means you can't, technically you can't grow them on the desk anymore because your desk will get messy, right? So that is why I showed a way how to grow these microgreens without without having bottom drainage holes. And that is also the reason why it is better for you to harvest the microgreens within 7 days, maximum 10 days. Because if you leave them longer, they will start to rot because there is no drainage hole. So there'll be water. There'll be a collection of water underneath the tray, and the roots will start to rot, and the microgreens will start to rot as well. They'll start to die.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, Miss. Hope that answered your question, Mr. Velusamy. That's actually a very important question also. So I'm glad you asked that. Okay, Miss Bernadette Bodeville is asking, when you store microgreens in the fridge after harvesting, are they washed already?
Yes. Yeah. Usually, you wash them and then you just store them in an airtight container, and then just push it into the fridge. But then again,
technique to wash them because they're very delicate.
Yeah, just rinse it in the water. Yeah, just softly rinse in the water and then put them into an airtight container. But then again, just allow me to remind you again, try not to keep them more than 3 days, right?
Okay.
Within that 3 days, try to consume the microgreens.
All right. Okay. So that's something important to remember. So I guess that's all the questions actually that we have. Yep. It seems like that's all the questions that we have for today. Is there anything that you would like to add? Overall, we found this really exciting and interesting, enlightening, because it makes complete sense to grow your own food. Number one, it's cheap, It's a great way to recycle not just the peat moss, but also those trees. Actually, when you mentioned trees just now, I thought you were saying you were talking about food trays, actual food trays. But these are trays that you get from the supermarket that you
Yeah,
always
these are easily
it's okay,
stoppable
right?
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, so it makes perfect sense. Fantastic.
yeah.
So, okay, so on that note, with that last question, ladies and gentlemen, we would need to call it a day lah here. But if you'd like to know more about urban farming, you can check out Balan's website at www.theurbanfarmer.my. In sync with Columbia Asia's tagline, a passion for making people better, we are just as passionate about empowering you with your health as we are with our medical services. So if you would like to know more about this program, do check out our website at www.columbiaasia.com under Corporate Health Transformation, or you can log onto our Facebook page at Columbia Asia Malaysia under Health Transformation by Columbia Asia. We'll see you all again soon in another episode of this webinar. Thank you, Balan, and thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too.